I'm just going to start. So, hello everybody. My name is John Buero. I'm a partner solutions engineer at HashiCorp. I'm based in London. I'm actually based in the UK, and I'm just kind of going to go over a special tool I use for my presentations. If you're presenting at a user group or you're doing a recording presentation of HashiCorp, these are the tips and tricks that I've learned over the last pandemic, so to speak. Right. So, a little bit about the background here. There's a presentation that I use, which is not PowerPoint, which is not Google Slides, which is not any of the traditional methods that we use. And this is an HTML and JavaScript framework called Reveal.JS, which has actually been around for quite a while. It's actually a codified presentation language, so a lot of people don't find it easy to use. In fact, you'll see that I have to open up 100 different windows along the way. So one thing that people love to do is demos and user group discussions with this, right? So what I've done is I took a standard fork of it that I made years ago, actually back at my days at Red Hat. I took the HashiCorp logo into Blender, the SVG, extruded it into a three-dimensional box that you see here. And then I loaded that into my template, into my presentation fork. So the code for this, which you can actually see here, is actually just some HTML, an images directory, and then a models directory. So the models / HashiCorp directory, if you browse to the source code, and anybody actually here that wants to browse this can do so. It's publicly exposed right now, actually. It's running. But what I do is I present this, and again, I'm doing a development environment, a local host. I will share with you the link to the Google bucket as soon as I can. They have one browser window actually doing a Firefox display, right, showing this Reveal presentation, which is again a local directory in my home directory, and I can edit that here. So the actual index.html looks like a bunch of gibberish, actually. Sections. Here's my sections, right? So if I do this on my presentation, escape key, I have a list of my index tree, right? So on the right, I have an actual browser display that I would normally do a recording from. On the left, I have behind the scenes open broadcasting suite. So this is an actual tool that would allow me to composite and make different views together. In fact, it's funny because I have behind me, you can see a green screen so that I can insert myself into here during a normal recording. I have a second webcam right here, hello, for whiteboarding on a piece of paper. And at the beginning of the pandemic, I'm not sure if you had to work remotely or not, or if you had to do presentations like this, but everybody at HashiCorp was offered the option of an iPad for whiteboarding, right? Much simpler option here, and it's very dark in London. I apologize for that. I have a lamp on my desk, and I have the webcam up here. A little bit confusing. So you can actually do multiple webcams in OBS. You can add another view, add another audio device, add another video device. And again, this can potentially load down your system, so be careful. I've got 256 gigs of RAM in this box and two Xeon sockets, so it tends to balance okay. The NVIDIA GPU is currently rendering this on a browser, also forwarding that to OBS for capture, and at the same time, Zoom is capturing the whole display, right? So there's a lot of computation going on right now, a lot of workload on the system. I wouldn't normally do this live and also show what's happening behind the scenes. But if you're not familiar with Open Broadcasting Suite, it is a new discovery of mine during the pandemic. It's a really helpful tool. And again, completely free. I'm not a professional broadcaster, obviously, but it helps me do a lot of these tasks and make presentations perfect for things like hugs, user groups, etc. All right. So if you have a look at this, again, anybody who can fork this, take their own copy of it. I often find that CSS is a pain. In fact, what you see right here, this is slide 1, section 1. So this is a section. This is a master section. This is a subsection. So it's a little bit of a two-dimensional grid, right? If I hit escape key on Reveal again, I see that I have one kind of column of slides, 2 columns of slides over here. I can click any one of these to make it the active slide, right? I can also hit the space bar to procedurally go top to bottom, left to right. Now, this section that you see is actually defined as just traditional HTML, right? So there's a theme affiliated with the slide, HashiCorp and ARM. HashiConf Global 2021 lightning talks, and this is a talk that I did yesterday. This is also available as a Docker container, so some people use this to demonstrate Nomad jobs, other HashiCorp jobs that we have together. It's a great way to spin up a lightweight container that shows an application like this, right? It's not really an application as such, it's static HTML, right? So there's a JavaScript thread in the background that's continuously rotating whatever model you put here. So any model you get in Blender, you export as a DAE file, which is, again, an XML file. You can see it here. I didn't handwrite this by any way. I'm not going to handwrite a DAE file. That would be crazy. Blender can export them. So complex shapes, your company logo, that's fine. Just drop it into logos here. Either replace the one that's there or change the HashiCorp.dae reference inside this script, right? Line 58 currently. So this is a bit that I've added. I used a blue fedora originally at Red Hat when I was doing Red Hat community presentations. Every frame of animation, it's going to rotate that nice amount, so it kind of spins gently in the background, right? And this is not basic models, right? You can actually the Fedora model that I had was actually bump mapped, so you can have really advanced models in DAE, textures, everything works really well. Now, once you have that established, go down to your sections. And unfortunately, this is completely codified, so there's no easy way to put one of these together. But what you can do, you can see here, I've actually had to manually adjust a little bit because of the CSS, the presentations. Everything after this slide, which is just HTML, you see the headings and the fonts and the themes applied. I go down to slide 2, everything is an SVG, right? I just use an SVG image. And the reason for that is the SVG has a lot more power and editability, I should say, on this. This is Inkscape, right? So if I look at this, I have Inkscape open to this SVG file, which really is just an image. It's got a border, a translucent background. And if I edit anything here and save, okay, Control S, hit save, and then refresh on my presentation, I can see it's there, right? So simple, straightforward. All I have to do is edit my slides as SVG pictures, and that works really well. Again, if I weren't presenting live on Zoom, I could actually have the green screen background as well, presenting me directly over the top of this, right? And I could also, again, have this is whiteboarding, and you can frame it appropriately without on iPad. I hate to say it, commodity webcam presented with a coat hanger over your document, over your either whiteboard or actual piece of paper. It goes a lot further than a technical issue through whatever tablet you've got that's cost a lot of money, right? So now, and again, it's pretty dark right now because it's in London, so I have extra lighting as well. I'm not a presentation expert as such, right? I do these during the day. We do these live sometimes with user groups. If you're presenting a user group, I encourage you to use this theme again. And if what you can do is actually add multiple views or multiple scenes inside OBS. So if you see like Mitchell and Armand that are co-presenting, or sometimes have different views cut to, you can actually arrange that here. You can say, okay, left side view, right side view, and switch on the fly. So I'm not a producer. I'm not, again, a live presenter in a traditional media sense. But this is free. It's open source. Everything you see here is open source. I'm running Linux on my box. I'm running Fedora. So there's zero software cost in this sense, right? Now, if I want to open or change a different slide, so if I go down to slide 2, you can see the beauty of this is that I've got the ARM logo embedded. Oh, that opened in the background, sorry. I've got the ARM logo. Again, I can copy paste logos in a 2-dimensional plane that is projected onto this 3-dimensional background. And potentially with my face or webcam with a green screen over that. Right? Now, one of the most interesting opportunities that this gives you is animated Gifs directly in your presentation, right? So I have a 3-dimensional background, an SVG overlaid, and if I go to, which slide is this? Normally I would name them a little bit better, but I was in a hurry this time. If I go to, I think, 4. Yes. You see that I've got an actual animated GIF dropped directly into the SVG. And now that means that I don't have to sit and do a demo on this. Oh, I actually have an ad block killing it on Firefox. That's annoying. I don't have to sit and type this. I can have an animated GIF record my demo. And interesting, this works really great in Chrome, but I've not tried it in Firefox. I'm using Firefox right now, but it should show my keystrokes and my live demo directly there, right? So if I'm going to live demo something and worry about it going wrong, interrupting my presentation or my my sort of showmanship, I want to pre-record that, have that on there as a GIF. That's a really helpful thing to do. And again, if you're in Linux, the Peak utility is a great utility for live capturing animated GIFs from your screen, right? As opposed to a screenshot, you get a screen animation saved as a GIF. Now, I'm recording this again for later, for posterity, locally on the machine so that it will be full motion, because if I record this in the cloud with Zoom on a 4K screen, it does tend to be a little jittery, right? It'll be a little bit slower. But in the meantime, what I can do is I can live move these around, scroll these around, again, create variations of this if I want to over here in the various scenes. If I were to go a little bit harder core, again, I'm doing this all on one machine, and it takes a lot of compute power. If I maybe have separate machines locally, that would help to use one as a video in and one as a video out. That would help distribute the load a little better, and also give me the option for more scenes where I can worry about showing the same window on multiple perspectives, right? So again, if I want to actually look at the code for this, right? And again, remember, there's no PHP, no native C code, nothing is compiled. This is all happening in WebGL. This is a fork from Reveal.JS, which added Three.JS. So Three.JS was the WebGL framework on top of JavaScript. So I've got Reveal.JS projected with Three.JS, and then forked that into this, which I call Hashibo. So it's the three-dimensional presentation of a Reveal.js presentation with an animated rendered background. And anybody can use this. I encourage anybody on a Hog presentation to use this. Where the source code is, and I'll pop that up. I think it's Hashibo. Yeah. Jbuero Hashibo, and I'll drop this link in the chat just in case anybody wants to see it. I know we have a small group, that's all right. This was kind of a last minute thing I threw together, so appreciate you joining. This is a public GitHub. You can fork this. Again, you can add your own corporate logo. If you want to render or model your own corporate logo in Blender, you can do that. And you can obviously override the templates, right? So if I go into my Inkscape again, or my SVG editor, whatever I'm using for vector graphics, I can change anything here. I can drop in a hello world. If I go to, this is the beauty of SVGs. I hate to say it's ugly. If you open them up, they will actually embed base64, but it makes it really simple to edit. So here I'll take an image off Google, and I'll paste it directly in here. I'll paste it directly on this image, and then I'll save, and then I'll refresh over here, and bingo, right? Again, it works really smooth. It's easy to edit. It's surprisingly performant. If you're using the link, and I'm sorry I couldn't find the link because my bookmark or my history went stale, you should be able to run this on your local environment. What I'll do, actually, give me a second. Let me pause this. I can find this link. I don't know. I just had it up. I just have too many tabs to keep track of. Sorry. There it is. Okay, sorry. Copy link address. You don't have to use Google. In fact, I don't need to pause the share. Sorry. You don't have to use Google, but it's an easy way to just show and host this publicly, right? So anybody here can go. I've exposed it to the public. Storage.googleapis.com/hashi-lightning-boero index.html. I'll drop that link in the chat. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason. There's no server compute. If you distribute this as a container, and again, it is hosted in Docker Hub, it is just presented as a static Nginx or Apache web application, I forget, with that static content at the document root, all right? Now, you can feel free to browse that on your own then. If somebody, if people on the call want to browse the presentation at their own while you're actually presenting it on a Zoom or on a remote share, they can do that as well, right? As you see the bottom right hand, there's controls. And you can actually edit in your theme, the template, what the transitions are. Is it a rotate? Is it a slide, fade, or an instant switch? So if you're not familiar with Reveal.JS, it is really powerful, actually. It takes a lot of learning, again, because it's all code-based. So if I go down here and I go theme, you can see that there's actually a theme default.css, right? So if I actually go into my CSS directory, I've got different themes. This is the default. I can switch to beige. I can switch to simple, actually. Should be fine. Again, that won't have much effect except on slide 1. So let me go back. All right, hit refresh. There you go. Fonts have changed. It's dark, obviously. That's not helpful, right? But I can do that. I can bulk change the theme, and it's codified. So if I have this in Git, it's a GitOps presentation, which is actually really handy. Switch that back, F5 once again. All right, so change the themes. If you love CSS, this is a paradise, right? You get to mess with CSS all day. Otherwise, SVGs, again, are codified, right? So if you change something in an editor, an IDE, like I pasted that image, images show up here as base64, so it is pretty bulky. In fact, if I go down to my animated GIF, which starts somewhere here, you see it's just a bunch of gibberish, right? But the actual browser will interpret that the way that it should, which is great. So now, again, I can whiteboard on one window, I can have my face on the same display, and I can have the presentation side by side. All right, so question, it's awful quiet. Any questions at this point? And again, I think the recording might be more helpful because I'll edit out my boo-boos and snafus, but that's how it works. And we don't do anything live, right? All right, excellent. Avinash, hello, how are you? Is that right? I don't even know if I pronounced it right. So welcome. This is a very brief, very informal presentation I just wanted to put together on how I do this. All right. And one more link, hub.docker.com. If I look up Hashibo Docker Hub, none of my history is working today. Registry.docker.com/r. Oh, hello, there you are. Hashibo. So there is a container image again. It's just Alpine Linux plus Nginx plus the Hashibo deck. So I use this sometimes for presentations for Hex 2020. In fact, the HashiCorp Exchange 2020 and also HashiConf 2020, I made presentations like this too. Guess what? This is HTML, so you can embed YouTube videos. Do I have any tutorial video on this? This is, in fact, I'm recording the tutorial video right now. So there is no existing video on this. I'm doing it right now. And again, because Zoom is taking Zoom has my webcam handle right now. Zoom application is opening my webcam. I can't test out the green screen, unfortunately. But what I would do, I learned this actually through OBS tutorials on YouTube. Because OBS is actually a pretty powerful tool, and it takes a lot to learn. So if I were to go like this, a video capture device, webcam, okay, make source visible. I don't think, yeah, because I'm already using the webcam, it won't show it twice because Zoom has it. But I select a device, or can I? No, I can't. See, there's my actual webcam that Zoom is using, and it's blank. But what I could do is say add that, and then drop myself in. I could drop myself into the view or into the scene so that I can switch scenes back and forth. And now the good thing about OBS, again, and it's not a HashiCorp product, it is an open source community project that I use for presentations. I can do two modes. I can do a live mode, and I can do a recording mode. So you obviously, if things go wrong, you can edit them out, right? You can record a video, go in with your video editing program, and then cut out issues, cut out other problems that you have. I don't know. I don't have an actual tutorial on this beyond what I'm doing right now. So again, I use this a lot for customer demonstrations, for Nomad jobs. You can schedule a Nomad job, pulls down a Docker container, and runs one of these presentations. Then you can show a customer how to schedule essentially a HashiCorp container. I've never documented it until now, so this is a new one. All right. Thank you. Any questions? And again, this is totally behind the scenes. totally ad hoc and very dirty, right? So I'm throwing this together. You see all my windows, all my tabs. I've got a lot going on. It's not very organized. In fact, you should see my desk because obviously I have a webcam here pointing down, strung on a stand, which is made of a coat hanger, and then a lamp above it because it's so dark in London right now. So you are behind the scenes right now. There's also a light in front of the screen so that I can see what I'm doing and so that the camera can see me. All right. Great. All right. I hope this is informative. I'm going to record this, and I think it'll be more useful as a reference for people trying to do this later than live right now. Makes sense. Great. All right. Any other questions? Otherwise, because of lightning talk, I think I'm well over on time. All right. Thank you. We'll let you get back to HashiConf. Oh, where can I get this recording? Yeah, good question. I will send out actually, send me an email. I will send out a recording because it's coming to, it'll be on my machine. It won't be public. So I will push it to YouTube. How about that? And then I will share an unlisted link. So send me an email to there if you can. I will send you the link as soon as I can get that published. Right? I might also edit out all the awkward silence in the beginning of it, if that makes sense. Okay. Great. Thank you. And again, I'll share all links and notes on that recording link so that you can see it later. All right. Oh, great. Okay, cool. Wow, that's a lucky email. Very cool. And I take it you're based in India. Wonderful. Well, thank you and welcome. And I'm glad you watched. And let's get back to the actual HashiConf event. All right. Thank you. Take care. And I'm closing down now. Cheers.